we're in May now. Next month, students all over the world will face their teachers and exams. A yearly tradition to see who's worthy to proceed in the game of life and education.
Well, the good times are gone with the wind. It's now the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, today, especially for you if you're one of them, I will share a study tip that if I would have had that one 30 years ago, it would have made a big difference. As a student, I was the worst procrastinator. Gifted with a good enough brain so I could get away with studying the bare minimum and still pass my exams. Procrastination is the worst. You know damn well you should be doing whatever you're not doing and still not doing it. I wrote a whole course on that, but that's not what I want to talk about. Part of my problem back in my student years was that I didn't have a method. No discipline, no method, no clue basically. Days before an exam I would start cramming and hoping for the best. My curse was that this extremely flawed and short-term strategy, which was doomed to blow up in my face, well, it didn't. I got away with it. I learned, or at least my brain learned, that the road of least resistance, of least effort, was enough to get by. And so that same attitude haunted me for years. But again, that's a different story altogether. The problem with my studying regime is that barely a thing stuck. My goal was not to acquire knowledge, to develop insights and a higher understanding. No, my goal was to pass the exam, and that's pretty much it. I didn't learn much. I studied to remember for a couple of days, and no more. Needless to say that the studying part of my studies was pretty meaningless. When I look back, I have great memories with my friends at parties and stuff like that. I have painful memories of the times I had to study. I always knew those years were more about experimenting and socializing, because from a study point of view, those years were an impressive waste of time. Now, I partially blame the system for that, because at my university, back in those days, it was all about remembering, and nothing, absolutely nothing, was being done to stimulate the students to acquire knowledge and insights through exploration and linking the material together for oneself. Everything was in the syllabus. You just had to study, which I did. But even that part, I wasn't really good at, because, as I explained, barely any of it made its way to my long-term memory.
If we talk for too long, I'll forget how we started, and next time I see you, I'm not going to remember this conversation. I don't even know if I've met you before.
So this is where I want to make my contribution for the new generation of students out there. There are ways to be more efficient when studying. There are many memory techniques, and I have a whole course about that inside the Brain Academy, but this is about studying methodology. You know how students learn and then before the exam they go over the material again, right? Reading through it. I've done it myself countless times. And you know what? Doing this is one of the least effective ways to reactivate content we've learned. It gives the false impression that we know the material, but what we do is merely recognizing it. We're not learning, we're not even refreshing. The information barely hops in and out of our short-term memory. I can hear you think, okay Gregory, fine, but what now? What should I do instead? This is where the methodology comes in. You want to study in an efficient way? Do this. Organize everything you learn into questions. With this, I mean that you create questions that cover what you're learning.
You must ask the right questions.
So for example, if you're learning about, let's say, the colors of the rainbow, you write down the question, what are the different colors of the rainbow? And then you learn the answer to your question. And this is where it becomes powerful. Because once you go over the material again before an exam, you do not read the content again. Nope. You just go over your questions and answer them.
Ask me any question.
All right. What are the 3 most crucial ingredients in a forgetfulness potion?
Forgot.
If there's a question you can't answer, you know you have to spend more time on that particular part of the material. So instead of simply reading the material, you reactivate the material by forcing your brain to do the extra work of remembering what you've learned in the past. And it is that very process of doing the extra work which is so beneficial in the whole studying and learning process. From a brain's perspective, that is. So don't read through your course content. Create questions, be able to answer them, and refresh by going through the questions, not the content. You're welcome. So what is a study tip that you would like to share? Leave in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. If you want the real stuff, you go to brainacademy.com. Join our 350,000 students and start using your brain better. Brain out.
Sharp.